this makeup tutorial that I'm going to do today, I'm actually going to use our Unique Fabulous or Flawless 4 collection, which is our Glorious Primer, which you use before your makeup, our Touch Skin Perfection Concealer, which is just awesome, and of course our Touch Mineral Liquid Foundation, which I just love. And we'll also be using our Unique foundation brush with that. So what this tutorial is actually going to cover is I'm going to cover how I apply my concealer and how I apply my foundation. So this video will be done a little bit side on, so you might not quite be able to see everything that I'm doing, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with our Glorious Face and Eye Primer. Now you really don't need a lot of this. This is a very smooth, silky product. You see that will probably do, or will do more than my whole face. Okay, and it has a lovely smooth texture on, there's a lovely smooth texture on your skin. And what it actually does is it helps to keep your makeup in place and keep it set. Now, anything to do with colour, you should work downwards with your skin because you don't want it to actually get into the pores of your skin. The primer is not really a makeup product, it's actually a skincare product. So you would work down with that, okay? And these are just things I've learned along the way, okay? Now, I know when it comes to doing my concealer and foundation, I probably am a little bit more old school than other people with the way I apply it. I know the new method for applying foundation and concealer, sorry, meant to move out of the shot there, is to actually apply your foundation and then apply your concealer first. For me, I don't find that works so well, which I'm not sure if you can see it so much today because I suffer from rosacea on my face. And I find it's a much better effect for me if I actually use the concealer first. So basically with your concealer, and you don't need a lot of it, although, well, most people don't need a lot of it, okay? If you're like me and you've got a fair bit of rosacea to cover up, you can find you use more of it than other people would suggest. But you basically dot it under your eyes. Usually that's because people either want to cover up, you know, they've had a bit of a sleepless night, their eyes might be a bit dark, you know, things like that, or they might have some bags under their eyes that they're trying to cover up. You then get a concealer brush and you just blend it in, okay? Now, I find I actually take probably more time with this than what I do my actual foundation, okay? Like I said, that's because I've got rosacea that I need to cover up, or that I like to cover up. I don't need to cover it up. But this probably takes me longer than, like I said, than actually applying my foundation. And you do need to make sure you blend it in well. For those of you that are trying to hide dark circles under your eyes, you should go a shade lighter with your concealer because that will brighten up that area and it won't look so dark. Okay, and I know a lot of us still out there like to use our hands for our makeup. I'm like I said, I'm a little old school. That's how we were taught to apply our makeup originally. Of course, now we know that, you know, you really shouldn't use your hands to apply makeup with because you're actually transferring dirt and oil back onto your face, which you really don't want to do. So, but remember, makeup it's all about choice, okay? It's all about what you're comfortable with doing, what you like to do. If you like to use makeup sponges, use makeup sponges. If you like to use blending buds, use blending buds. You know, if you're old school and you want to use your hands, I have no objection to that either. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so just blend it in a little bit more under my nose there. I've got a little bit of redness from having a bit of cold. So as you can see, I've blended that in really, really well. So I'm actually finished with the concealer. Now, to apply our liquid mineral foundation, if you've got a really, really good foundation brush, look, really good trick with this is to always make sure before you shake the bottle up to actually empty the dropper so that you're actually shaking all of the liquid that's in there up so that there's no sediments or anything like that, and it's going to be the right consistency when you use it. Okay, now for this, fill the eyedropper up and using the foundation brush, 5 drops, okay, for most people is enough. Some days when my rosacea is playing up quite bad, I find I need to use a little bit more. Now, like I said, colour should always work down with, okay? And around the eye area, you should always work in around the eye area. The reason for that is simply because if you're pulling the eye area out, you're actually creating more wrinkles, okay, rather than not giving yourself more wrinkles. So always try around the eye area, whether it's makeup or whether it's skincare, to try and work in around the eye area. Now, of course, we also have other foundations which are just as good as this one. This is just my personal favourite. I like the coverage that it gives me, particularly with my rosacea. And, you know, let's face it, ladies, I'm not getting any younger. And I find it gives me really, really good coverage, and it doesn't cake. Like a lot of foundations that dry to a powder do, it doesn't cake everywhere. And it also stays put. And I've done a video before where I actually wore this in 30-degree heat and it stayed put. Okay, it didn't melt, it didn't run off my face. So, you know, can't say much better than that for the product myself, in my opinion. Okay, now so because I've still got a little bit of rosacea coming through here, even though I've covered it really, really well, I'm probably going to use just a little bit more foundation today to cover that up, okay? But like I said, your choice how you apply it. The foundation brush is awesome for applying it in. Let's just blend that in a little bit more there. So this is how I apply my makeup and how I go from, you know, having rosacea on my face to completely covering it, so that I don't feel embarrassed about going out down the street and stuff like that, which I know I shouldn't, and I'm very proactive in saying to people, you know, beauty comes from within, which it does, and I truly do believe that. But it does affect my confidence, so for that reason and that reason alone, I prefer to cover it so that, you know, I don't feel like people are staring at that part of me rather than actually talking to me and things like that. Now bear in mind all of these products are as natural as Younique can get them. And our finished products are certainly not tested on animals, which is pretty awesome. You know, I don't know about anybody else, but we love our pets, so we're kind of grateful that, you know, we're not testing on bunny rabbits and dogs and cats and things like that. So. Okay, so ladies, that's how I apply my foundation and concealer. You know, makeup takes a little bit longer than doing your skincare, obviously, because we want to take a bit more time with it. But there you go. That is how I go to from having rosacea to not having rosacea on a bad day, so that people don't notice it. And I think that's pretty awesome. So that's the end of this tutorial for the day. Actually, before I do go, I will show you our other, we have our Mineral Touch Cream Foundation. We also have our Mineral Touch Creamed Powder. There are a lot of the younger girls and some older women that actually swear by our BB Flawless Cream, that are looking for a little bit lighter coverage. They're not looking for like full coverage of their face, and this is a really, really nice product when you use it too. This product is more for people that have, in my opinion, have a dry skin or a dry complexion. Just as good a product as the Mineral Touch Foundation. Just for me, because my skin's not really dry, I find it's not probably the best product for my skin. That the foundation in liquid is much better for my skin. So that's the end of our tutorial today. I hope you all learned something, and I'll talk to you soon.